guys, what's up? It's Darkmech here, and today we're going to have a look at the Protection Paladin in Legion. Now, I've had a lot of people asking for a prop pally overview, and to be honest, I hadn't played my prop paladin in a fucking long time. So I've spent the last few weeks on beta really sort of having a real fucking crack at playing the prop pally, reading as much research as I could from all the theory crafters who have been working their ass off and crunching numbers, and just getting an overall feel from the community in regards to how they feel the class is playing in Legion compared to WOD. And as always, there's some positives and there's some negatives. For me, I'm actually really enjoying the way Prop Pally is playing in Legion, call me crazy. And they're going to be an extremely fucking viable tank class come Legion. At the moment, they're probably the best, if not, maybe second best to Guardians, but they're right fucking up there. So getting into it, guys, what is gone? What abilities are you going to miss come Legion launch from your prop pally? So Holy Power is gone, that's the first big one. Crusader Strike, Divine Protection, Cleanse has changed, Blessing of Kings and Might is gone. Hammer of Wrath is gone, same as Execute for Warriors. They appear to have taken all executes away from tanks, same with Touch of Death on the Monk. Hand of Protection's gone, Holy Wrath is gone, Hand of Salvation's now a talent. Turn Evil's gone, Word of Glory, Seal of Insight and Seal of Righteousness are also gone. In regards to talents, what has gone? Speed of Light, Long Arm of the Law, Pursuit of Justice, Eternal Flame, Sacred Shield, Hand of Purity, Selfless Healer, Unbreakable Spirit, Clemency, Holy Avenger, Sanctified Wrath, Divine Purpose, Holy Prism, Light's Hammer, Executioner's Sentence, and Empowered Seals are also all gone. So you can see, as with every tank coming into Legion, a lot has been stripped back and the classes really have been pruned and simplified, if you like. So what do Protection Paladins have from a baseline point of view with the artifact? So we've still got Judgment. Judges an enemy dealing holy damage and reducing the remaining cooldown and Shield of the Righteousness by 1 second or 2 seconds on a critical strike on a 12-second cooldown. Consecration consecrates the land beneath you, causing holy damage over 9 seconds to enemies who enter the area on a 9-second cooldown. Avenger's Shield hurls your shield at an enemy target dealing holy damage, interrupting and silencing the non-player target for 3 seconds and then jumping to 2 additional nearby enemies on a 15-second CD. Hammer of the Righteous hammers the current target for physical damage. While you are standing in your consecration, Hammer of the Righteousness also causes a wave of light that hits all other targets within 8 yards for holy damage. 2 charges, 4.5-second recharge. Avenging Wrath increases all damage and healing you do by 35% for 20 seconds on a 2-minute CD. Cleanse has been changed to Cleanse Toxins. Cleanses a friendly target, removing all poison and disease effects on an 8-second CD. Blessing of Freedom places a blessing on a party member or raid member, granting immunity to movement impairing effects for 8 seconds on a 25-second cooldown. Blessing of Sacrifice places a blessing on a party or raid member, transferring 30% of the damage taken to you for 12 seconds, or until transferred damage would cause you to fall below 20% HP. It is on a 3-minute cooldown. Divine Steed summons your holy mount to ride for 3 seconds, increasing movement speed by 100%, usable while indoors or in combat on a 45-second CD. It's actually a really fun ability, it's just weird getting used to. Flash of Light, a quick but expensive spell, healing a friendly target or yourself for 425% of your spell power. Lay on Hands heals a friendly target for an amount equal to your maximum health, cannot be used on a target with forbearance. It also causes forbearance for 30 seconds on a 10-minute cooldown. Guardian of the Ancient Kings empowers you with the Spirit of Ancient Kings, reducing all damage you take by 50% on a 5-minute cooldown. Divine Shield protects you from all damage and spells for 8 seconds, cannot be used if you have forbearance. It also causes forbearance for 30 seconds on a 5-minute cooldown. Light of the Protector calls down the light to heal you for 25% of your missing health. While you're standing in consecration, Light of the Protector's healing is increased by 20% and it's on a 15-second cooldown. Just quickly with Light of the Protector, guys, because it's come up on forums a lot, it heals you for 25% of your missing health. So if you have 100k H pool, for example, and you're at 90k health, if you use Light of the Protector, it's going to heal for 25% of the missing 10k. So it's going to heal for 25% of 10k. So if you're at high HP, you are not going to get a large heal from this. If you are at 20% HP, then it is going to heal for 25% of the amount of health you are missing. So hopefully that makes sense, but that is how it works, because there was a lot of confusion over that. Hammer of Justice stuns the target for 6 seconds on a 1 minute cooldown. Rebuke interrupts spellcasting and prevents any spell from that school being cast for 4 seconds on a 15-second cooldown. Redemption, Still Our Res, brings a dead ally back to life with 35% maximum HP and mana. Cannot be cast while in combat. Hand of Reckoning is our taunt. 8-second cooldown. Ardent Defender reduces all damage you take by 20% for 8 seconds. While Ardent Defender is active, the next attack that would otherwise kill you will instead bring you to 12% of your maximum health on a 2-minute cooldown. And Shield of the Righteous. So, this is our active mitigation ability. So, slam the target with your shield. It causes holy damage and reduces the damage that you take by a scaling percent for 4.5 seconds, and you have 3 charges of this. Now, it's also worth noting, while you're standing in consecration, your shield is actually increased by 20%. It's off the GCD, it scales with haste, judgment reduces the recharge rate on it, and as paladins scale with and get more and more haste, you're going to see some pretty decent uptimes on this active mitigation. It's also really important to point out that Shield of the Righteous reduces all damage taken, both magical and physical. It's a fucking insane active mitigation ability for paladins. It is fucking OP as fuck. It is crazy. And it's the reason that paladins are so fucking awesome at the moment. So, really awesome active mitigation for paladins through Shield of the Righteous. Eye of Tyr is our artifact ability. Release a blinding flash from Truthguard, our artifact, causing holy damage to all nearby enemies and reducing all damage they deal to you by 25% for 9 seconds on a 1 minute cooldown. So artifact ability really solid for paladins as well. So passives, guys. What passives do we have? Grand Crusader. When you avoid a melee attack or use Hammer of the Righteous, you have a 15% chance to reset the remaining cooldown on Avenger's Shield. Heart of the Crusader increases your mounted speed by 20%. This does not stack with other movement increasing effects. Mastery, Divine Bulwark. So increases the damage reduction from Shield of the Righteous by 4%. It increases your chance to block melee attacks by 8% and also increases your attack power by 8%. So that is pretty much the baseline toolkit with the artifact weapon for the Protection Paladin. So on to gameplay. So as with every other tank in Legion that I've shown you guys so far, things have changed. They've become simplified, yada yada, the sky is falling, I hate my class, oh my god sort of business. But in the case of the Protection Paladin, I don't really think it's that bad, as I said at the start of the video, and I actually really enjoy how they play. You just call me crazy, I guess there. It may just be because I hadn't played it in so long. I don't really miss what's been taken away. Combat-wise, priority system still is the same as far as I can tell. The things that are going to make the playstyle very interesting for Paladins, however, very much revolves around their amazing active mitigation ability and the availability of it. Now, what I mean by that is Judgment has just been nerfed from 2 to 4 to 1 to 2. So to refresh your memory for new people or people looking to pick up the Paladin come Legion, Judgment reduces the recharge on Shield of the Righteous. So with this nerf comes a nerf to the uptime that you're going to see in the availability of your active mitigation. Now, there's no doubt this change comes from Blizzard's aim, and I'm pretty much sort of paraphrasing them here, but to tone down how frequently we're able to use our active mitigation abilities. They said they want tanks to feel as though these abilities are important to tank survival, and when the uptimes on these ability gets too high, the skill in knowing when to use them strategically matters less. So, as I've said, as Paladins scale and gain more haste, they're going to have a pretty decent uptime on Shield of the Righteousness anyway. So really, this will only be an issue on progression, heroic mythic raiding, and tanks looking to push their playstyle, I suppose, to the max damage output, or being able to manage, I suppose, being hit so hard by a progression boss that they have to use active mitigation outside those specific mitigation abilities to avoid being cut down, to half, three-quarter health by white hits, so to speak. And because active mitigation now plays such a large role in Blizzard's dungeons, I can imagine it'll have the same effect on raids. But while a Paladin doesn't have that active mitigation up, they're kind of just going to be a punching bag as such. Especially with stats-wise looking to be crit haste at the moment, your mastery percent is going to be lower, so your block chance is also going to be lower to try and smooth out that damage in between your active mitigation abilities, or availability, I should say, sorry. So as I've said, the change to Judgment really has an impact on the playstyle, not only from the active mitigation point of view, but also in regards to the talent. And the talent I'm talking about is Seraphim. And we'll certainly go over it once I hit the talent section. But basically, Seraphim has a rather large opportunity cost to it. It consumes 2 charges of your Shield of the Righteous to activate the ability or the talent. And now with charges taking longer to recover, and as I've said, Blizzard has such a large focus on active mitigation in fights, otherwise you're penalised, dots, debuffs, knockbacks in dungeons. It obviously sort of presents a problem in using it. So again, it's probably only going to be a real problem once you step into progression raiding, and maybe higher level Mythic Plus dungeons. Though even in higher plus Mythic level dungeons, it's usually kill it quick rather than survive for longer. So it may just very well impact the raiding community. You'll be dropping Consecrate pretty much all the time off cooldown now due to how many abilities are actually affected and buffed by Consecration. It's not hard to have near 100% uptime on Consecration anyway. Once you get the artifact trait, which is called Consecrated in Flame, which increases the duration of Consecrate, you're pretty much going to have overlapping Consecrates anyway. Paladin's active mitigation, as I mentioned, is Shield of the Righteous. It has 3 charges, and there's a talent called Bastion of Light. Again, we'll touch on when we get to talents, but you can get an extra 3 charges of Shield of the Righteous on demand just from that talent alone. So using Judgment reduces the remaining cooldown or recharge on Shield of the Righteous by 1 second for every hit, or 2 seconds for every critical strike. And it's insanely strong, as I said. Now, I'm on the beta at the moment, and I have absolutely fucking pox gear on my Protection Paladin, and my Shield of the Righteousness is currently reducing 44% of all damage taken. If I'm in Consecration, I'm reducing all damage taken, magical and physical, by 64%. So it's fucking huge, and you can imagine what that'll be when you're in top-end gear. And if I could convince my friends to go Horde, I would probably be all over a fucking Blood Elf Paladin like a big fatty going down on a block of Toblerone. I just can't convince them to go Horde. So again, as I've said, the big issue that will come around Paladin's insanely strong active mitigation is having ability for it. If you're one of those people that can just sit there and wait to use your active mitigation without really doing much in the middle to sort of help your raid, you'll probably be fine if you're not on hard, progressive, mythic or heroic bosses that are going to white hit you for such an amazing chunk of your health. But again, it is just going to be really interesting to see how that sort of plays out with Blizzard. It almost would have been better if they had have just reduced some of the amount that Shield of the Righteous actually that mitigated as such, and left Judgment the way, so you could have had a higher uptime for less mitigation rather than such a strong active mitigation ability with limited available use, I guess you could say, from a progressive level. So into the talents, guys. Sorry if I babbled a bit there. It's just a really big point at the moment for the Paladin community, and something I suppose I wanted to do justice in speaking about. So talents-wise, guys, level 15, First Avenger, Bastion of Light, and Crusader's Judgment. So First Avenger increases the damage of Avenger's shield by 50% and increases the chance for its remaining cooldown to be reset by abilities and talents by 50%, and it now hits only 1 target. Bastion of Light is that one that immediately grants the 3 charges of Shield of the Righteous, and Crusader's Judgment can also trigger Grand Crusader. So Bastion of Light is my pick here. You get the demand charges for your Shield of the Righteous, and it also plays extremely well with Seraphim if you decide to go down that option. First Avenger might very well be appealing once you reach the first major or golden trait, depending on what you want to call them, which is called Bulwark of the Order, which turns your Avenger's shield into a shield based off its damage. So once you actually get to that trait, First Avenger may very well become a really good option, though Bastion of Light with the active mitigation that I was just speaking about in regards to availability may very well remain the top pick. Level 30, Holy Shield, Blessed Hammer, and Consecrated Hammer. So Holy Shield increases your block chance by 10%, allows you to block spells, and your successful blocks deal holy damage to your attacker. Blessed Hammer throws a Blessed Hammer that spirals outwards, dealing holy damage to enemies that it hits, and causes them to deal 15% less damage to you on their next auto attacks. Consecrated Hammer, Hammer of the Righteous, has no cooldown and always gains the damage bonus of Consecration. This goes for Hammer of the Righteous, Shield of the Righteous, and Light of the Protector. Now always gain the benefit of Consecration, even if Consecration isn't down. So Blessed of the Hammer here is pretty much a 15% damage reduction at all times. It's the biggest winner on this row. It's been mathematically proven, not by me, of course. and at the moment it applies to all targets. So it is just a pretty much blanket 15% damage reduction, and a hammer that swirls around you. You can move enemies to make sure it's hitting them all. It is the big winner. Holy Shield isn't a horrible option. It is second to Blessed Hammer in regards to a damage reduction, a defensive, but it is a passive. So if you want more of a passive playstyle, Holy Shield is certainly a viable option for you. Consecrated Hammer has just been buffed, and it might sound good, but it's still rather shit. Stats-wise at the moment, also, as I have mentioned, it looks like crit haste is going to be the stats for Paladin, which means you're going to have a less percentage of mastery, which means it's going to drop the block percentage, which means the damage component of Holy Shield is also going to lose some of its value as well. So Blessed Hammer pretty much all the way, but obviously if you do want a passive style, take Holy Shield. Level 45, Fist of Justice, Repentance, and Blinding Light. So, Fist of Justice, Judgment reduces the remaining cooldown on Hammer of Justice by 10 seconds. Repentance forces an enemy target to meditate, incapacitates the target, and dealing up to 25% of the target's health in damage over a 1 minute time frame. Usable against demons, dragonkin, giants, humanoids, and undead. Blinding Light emits dazzling light in all directions, blinding enemies within 10 yards. Dealing damage and causing them to wander disorientated for 6 seconds. Non-holy damage will break the disorientated effect. So Fist of Justice, I think, is going to be really awesome, especially in 5-man situations. I will say for Repentance, the artifact quest is substantially easier if you take Repentance. Especially in low shitty gear, you have to fight 2 people. You can just Repentance one of them and pew your way to your artifact, no issues. Blinding Light may have some application for a mass interrupt and AoE damage. In regards to a raid environment where you're unable to stun something, I guess Blinding Light may end up being the pick there, but I really don't know, and I haven't seen much testing or math behind that row. Level 60, Blessing of Spell Warding, Retribution Aura, and Blessing of Salvation. So Blessing of Spell Warding places a blessing on a party or raid member, protecting them from all magic attacks for 10 seconds. Cannot be used on a target with Forbearance, and it causes Forbearance for 30 seconds. Retribution Aura, you deal holy damage to an enemy whose melee attacks strike a non-tank party or raid member within 60 yards. And Blessing of Salvation places a blessing on a party or raid member, temporarily removing all threat from the target and causing all additional threat generated to be transferred to you last 10 seconds. So Blessing of Spell Warding is pretty much the winner here. It doesn't cause you to drop threat. It's another fantastic damage reduction ability in the Paladin's toolkit, and for me, it's just the big winner. Blessing of Salvation, I don't get why Blessing of Salvation is still in game. It's basically an MD for the Paladin here, but as long as you're in a defensive spec, the way they changed threat so long ago, it really doesn't matter. You can just look at the target and you are going to have threat. Retribution Aura, I don't really rate that greatly either. I think Blessing of Spell Warding is the real winner on this talent row. Level 75, Hand of the Protector, Knights, Templar, and Final Stand. So, Hand of the Protector calls down the light to heal a friendly target for 25% of the target's missing health. Knight Templar reduces the cooldown of Divine Steed by 50% and reduces all damage taken while mounted on your Divine Steed by 20%. Final Stand, when you use Divine Shield, you also taunt all targets within 15 yards for 8 seconds. So Knight Templar is probably going to work out to be the best choice here. As I've said, the ability in itself feels strange, and you're pretty much just going to take this for the 20% damage reduction every 20 odd seconds. You get the fuck out of their speed boost. And as I said, it just feels like a strange ability to use. It feels even weirder using it every 20 seconds for a 20% damage reduction. But it is probably going to work out being nearly the best in this row, I think. Hand of the Protector replaces Light of the Protector, so it allows you to heal allies, so it's not a bad choice either. Final Stand is an interesting one. It feels a little bit gimmicky, but it could probably be really used in dungeon, like Mythic Pluses and even raids, sort of, if you can work out certain ways around getting around certain boss mechanics, or if there's large ad phases or something like that, you could probably get a fair use out of it in that application, but it will be very, I suppose, fight dependent in regards to that. Level 90, Aegis of Light, Judgment of Light, and Consecrated Ground. So Aegis of Light channels an Aegis of Light that protects you and all allies standing within 10 yards behind you for 6 seconds, reducing all damage taken by 20%. Judgment of Light. Judgment now applies Judgment of Light to the target, causing the next 40 successful attacks against the target to heal the attacker for 20% of spell power. This effect can occur only once. This effect can only occur once per 1 second on each target. Consecrated Ground, up to 6 allies standing within your consecration receive healing every 1 second, and enemies within your consecration have a 50% reduced movement speed. So Aegis of Light is probably going to have really good application in a raid setting, I would imagine, for another cooldown to mitigate damage. Judgment of Light would probably work well on boss fights too, I would think, but again, I haven't seen any numbers surrounding this in regards to raid testing. Consecrated Ground, again, probably not a horrible option, but probably lends itself more to dungeon content and even PvP. Level 100, Righteous Protector, Seraphim, and Last Defender. So Righteous Protector, Shield of the Righteous reduces the remaining cooldown and Light of the Protector and Avenging Wrath by 3 seconds. Seraphim, the Light temporarily magnifies your power, increasing your haste, crit, mastery, and versatility by a certain percentage, consumes up to 2 charges of Shield of the Righteous, and lasts 8 seconds per charge. Last Defender, each enemy within 8 yards reduces the damage that you take and increases the damage that you deal by 3%. This effect has diminishing returns. So Seraphim is probably going to be a big pick in regards to single target, and even raiding or raid progression if you can allow for it with active mitigation availability, I suppose. It may even come down to that's just what the off tank has to do if there's a 20 to 30 second gap where they're not going to have to tank. But again, I don't know how that's going to work, especially now with the Judgment nerf. Last Defender is going to be extremely valuable in 5-man content with large pools, multiple mobs, frequent pools being hit all the time. Last Defender is really going to be a really solid talent in this row. So on to the artifact weapon, guys. The artifact, which is Truth Guard, and it looks fucking really cool. I can't tell you how jibbed Warriors got in regards to the look of this artifact. I actually really fucking like this one. Eye of Tears, the ability, so releases a blinding flash from Truth Guard, causing holy damage to all nearby enemies and reduces all damage they deal to you by 25% for 9 seconds on a 1 minute cooldown. So fantastic artifact ability. So the 3 golden or major traits, whatever you would like to call them, it's 11 point from the first artifact ability to your first major or golden trait, whichever way you would like to go for the Paladin artifact. The 3 major or golden traits that you've got: Bulwark of the Order, Light of the Titans, and Tears Enforcer. So Bulwark of the Order, Avenger's Shield also shields you for 8 seconds, absorbing 20% as much damage as it dealt. Light of the Titans, your next Light of the Protector also heals, will heal for 500% of your attack power over 15 seconds. Tears Enforcer, the Knowledge of the Watchers causes Truth Guard to deal damage to all enemies within 5 yards of each target hit by Avenger's Shield. So not horrible major golden traits there. As I said, Bulwark of the Order may really play well with talents once it starts absorbing the 20% as much damage as it dealt for a shield. Other traits Protection Paladins have on their artifact trait tree: Faith's Armor increases armor by 10% while you are below 40% HP, 3 points for that one. Righteous Crusader increases damage dealt by Shield of the Righteous by 3%, and Shield of the Righteous reduces damage you take by an additional 1% for 3 points. Resolve of Truth, increase maximum health by 1%, 3 points. Painful Truce, while Ardent Defender is active, all melee attacks that strike you deal holy damage back to the attacker, there's 1 point for that. Consecration in Flame, increases the duration of consecration by 1 second, 3 points for that one. Hammer Time increases damage done by Hammer of the Righteous and Blessed Hammer by 5%, there's 3 points to put into that. Stern Judgment increases the critical strike chance of Judgment by 3% and 3 points to put into that. And again, with the higher crits on Judgment, the lesser recharge on Shield of the Righteous for active mitigation. Forbearant Faithful, each active forbearance you have caused increases... Sorry, I will start again with that. Fuck, I can't read. Forbearant Faithful, each active forbearance you have caused increases the cooldown recovery rate of all your forbearance causing abilities by 50%. Bastion of Truth increases block chance by 2%, and there's 3 points for that. Unflinching Defense reduces the cooldown of Ardent Defender by 10 seconds, and there's 3 points for that. Scatter the Shadows increases healing done by Light of the Protector by 10%, and there's 3 points for that one. Sacrifice of the Just reduces the cooldown of Blessing of Sacrifice by 60 seconds. And Unrelenting Light, as its power increases, Truthguard shrugs off blows with increasing ease, increasing armor by 1%. Fuck you, bird outside. 20 points that goes into this one, and this is unlocked once you have finished your entire artifact trait tree, and this is where shit gets extremely expensive as you go up through this with artifact power. So that's the artifact, guys. So looking at the legendaries now for the Protection Paladin, I did try to do this for the other tank overviews, and I remembered on some and I forgot on others. Luckily today I've remembered for the Protection Paladin. So the legendaries specific to the Protection Paladin: Breastplate of the Golden Valkyr. Each enemy hit by Avenger's Shield reduces the remaining cooldown on Guardian of the Ancient Kings by 4 seconds. Heathcliff's Immortality. You take 4% less damage while standing in your consecration. Tyleka Farron Marcus Statue. Avenger's Shield jumps to 2 additional targets. And Uther's Guard increases the duration of your Blessing of Freedom, Blessing of Sacrifice, and Blessing of Spell Warding by 40%. So those are the specific legendaries to the Protection Paladin. There is another legendary that is available to all specs on the Paladin, and that is Chain of Thrain, which, casting a non-greater blessing, heals the target for 15% of maximum health. So that is pretty much it, guys, for the guide. Hopefully I've given you, or the overview I should say, sorry. Hopefully I've given you enough info in regards to how Protection Paladins have changed from WOD into Legion. The gameplay issues they're going to face, how they're going to be fucking amazing. And as I said, I hadn't played mine in a long time, so maybe I enjoy Legion so much because I haven't noticed what's been taken out as badly from WOD to Legion. But they are just ridiculously strong. Protection Paladins are amazing. It is all just going to come down, the big hole in their armor is going to come down to the availability on that active mitigation from a progressive standpoint. Next up, guys, I'm going to do an overview for the Blood DK, so make sure if you aren't subscribed, you're subscribed if that's something you're interested in. A big thank you, guys, to all the support for people that have been sharing my channel around and things like that. I really fucking do appreciate that. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. Yeah, I really do appreciate that internet love. So big thank you to you guys out there for doing that. If you want any other videos, mate, if you have any questions, if I've fucked anything up, please do let me know in the comments. If you're hating the Prot Pally, let me know in the comments why. If you're loving the Prot Pally in the comments, let me know as well. I'm always interested to talk to you guys about this stuff. So thank you very much again, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I probably should stop saying thank you, and I'll see you all next time. See you guys. Level 60, Blessing of Spell Warding, Retribution, Aura, and... Wait. What the fuck? Judgment of Light unleashes the energy of a seal spell to judge an enemy for or until cancelled, granting melee attacks made against the judged enemy a chance of healing the attacker. That cannot be right. Judgment of Light. Hold the fucking phone. The oh fuck, that did not make sense at all. That was dumb.